So welcome to the Fabulous Life Ladder. I promise that I will put together a recording of the slideshow the workshop that I did at Elite Business event last week, in order that you can take advantage of the very special offer that we have for the one-day workshop on wealth and business coming up on the 26th of April. It's a one-off event that we put together for Elite Business, and what I'm going to do is go through the slides here so you can find out more about it and get booked on to start this fantastic journey with us. And this journey is about learning to live the dream, finding a life that fills you with purpose and passion and fulfillment, where you go with the flow, things come into your life, and it's just a joy. So why is it important to do this work? Well, there was some work done a couple of years ago by a palliative care nurse who spent time working with the dying in the last few days of life. And she did some research to identify what their biggest regrets were. And number one was, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. How often have you compromised what you really want in order to either please others or to take advice from people that you think know better? It happens a lot when we're young, but even as we get older, we can often find ourselves sort of sidetracked into a life that just doesn't really fit with us. I used to feel like I was living somebody else's life, whereas now my life is just fantastic, and I want to be able to share how I got there and the tools and processes with you so you can get there much quicker than I did. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. This is really crucial. If you have your own business, it takes over. And if it's our purpose and passion, it doesn't feel like work. And when we get in that flow and we're on the right path, then abundance comes to us and we feel like we're making a difference. We feel that we're really being significant, and wealth just flows to us. So it shouldn't feel like work, and we help you to identify how to get there. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. You'd be amazed at how important speaking your truth is. And there will be lots of sort of tips and techniques for this as we go through the workshop. But we very often don't say what we really think for fear of hurting people. But in order to get to where we want to be in life, we have to be authentic. We can't protect other people's feelings all the time. And a lot of what we work around is finding your inner voice, finding your courage, your convictions, and really tapping into your soul and what resonates with you. I wish that I'd let myself be happier. We tend to think, and I don't know why this is, but we're programmed to think that making ourselves happy is selfish. But it isn't. We should be living a life of joy and abundance, and that's what this whole program is about, getting you to. So a lot of clients that I've worked with have found that they get confused by life. Decision making can be so hard. We have so much riding on it, and you often find you're having this mental argument, don't you? And what it is, you'll find, is that how do I put it? Your instinct, if you want to think about it as your soul energy, but your instinct, your intuition is telling you want to go one way, and then your critical conscious mind is going, oh no, but you can't do that because of X, Y, and Z. And you get into this argument. Well, when you do this work, life begins to flow for you. And I think the biggest thing for me now is I don't make conscious decisions. Everything is intuitive. The things I need flow to me, the opportunities, the people, and I don't stress anymore. It's fantastic. Staying motivated can be an issue, but when you've found your real purpose and passion, life is amazing. You just leap out of bed knowing that, yes, today again I get to spend a day doing what I love and earning a living from it. Knowing how we're progressing can be difficult. You know, when do we ever stop and take check of where we are currently? How do we know where we want to get to if we don't know where we are now? We get caught up in the carousels and roundabouts of life, and sometimes it takes some major life crisis like redundancy or a breakdown of a relationship to actually make us stop and take check. What I'm offering you now is the chance to do that without having to go through all that crisis. Stop and take check now and move yourself onto your true path quickly. What relationships do you have around you? You know, are they ones that really spur you forward, support you, develop you, or do you have naysayers around you? We teach you how to shift so that you have more good relationships around you, but also how to manage the ones that maybe are not so positive for you. So what does all this mean? How's it going to help you? What are you going to get out of it? Well, when you identify your purpose and passion, everything falls into place. Now, if I said to you, tomorrow you're going to inherit £3 million, if you could say to me that the day after that you would still be doing what you're doing today, you found your purpose and passion. If, however, you'd change it and you'd go off and do something else, then we need to work with you on finding what the purpose and passion is that is in you, your unique gifts and skills and talents that you're here to share with the world. Because when you identify those and you begin to share them with the world, the universe steps up and brings everything you need to you. And it brings the people and the opportunities that start falling into your lap. You've heard about synchronicity. You know, if somebody mentions a particular book to you, and then a few days later you come across it in somewhere else, maybe it pops up on Amazon, and then you're listening to the radio and it's mentioned again, you should be reading that book. And if you are not in the flow of life, you're not looking for those opportunities. So when you start to do this work, you'll begin to see how they come to you, and they will open up all sorts of new opportunities for you. When that begins to happen, and when you begin to put a lot of these life ladder processes in place, your intuition kicks in and you become much more instinctive about the direction you're going in. You get into the flow of life and everything begins to be seamless and peaceful and joyful. It brings meaning to your life. You begin to see that you are having an impact, you're making a difference, you don't feel like you're banging your head against a brick wall. And we should be living a life of joy and abundance. So it's about finding that vision. What would your perfect life look like? If you don't know now, we help you to find it. It's about getting those synchronicities flowing into your life. Amazing opportunities, amazing people, and miracles do happen when you start doing this work. And I'll give you an example when I talk a little bit more about my sons. You get a sense of fulfillment. Well, what does that mean? Well, for me, that means having the freedom to do what you love and earn a living at it, to spend time with the people you want to spend time with, to work from anywhere you want in the world, just having all the things in your life that make you feel happy and content. And it's about abundance, because we should all be incredibly abundant. We weren't put here to struggle, but we have the wrong programs in place. And abundance allows us, and I don't just mean wealth, wealth is vital because it's having that wealth that allows us to go out and make an even bigger difference in the world. But abundance is also about having the right relationships in your life, the right opportunities. So what is this program? It's a system of tools, techniques and processes that I've developed over 15 years of my own journey to getting to a life that I absolutely love. I've spent literally tens of thousands of pounds on my own self-development over 15 years, but that means you don't have to. That means you can just do this program and you can get the key tools and techniques that have shifted me very quickly. I've kissed a lot of frogs along the way. I've got shelf loads of books, but what the life alchemy part of the life ladder process is the fast track processes to get you there really quickly. And I've been working with small groups recently, and we've seen some phenomenal things manifest, from soul partner relationships to new cars, to new jobs, new homes, but also little things like I really needed help with getting the fence mended, and somebody just popped in and mended the fence without me having to go looking. Amazing. The awareness reality checker allows you to stop and take check of your life without you having to be kicked into doing it. Life Passion Practicals is about finding that purpose and passion. Clean Belief Cycle is about understanding and clearing subconscious programming that we've picked up along the way. Healing your emotions, because if you've got negative emotions in there, if you're hanging on to resentment, guilt, anger, you can't move forward. Energy Optimizer is about having all the right things around us and really looking at how energy impacts on us and how we function, and making sure that we have the right stuff around us to move forward. The Mind Motivator is about putting you in control of your mind and not the other way around. And your Life Activator is the practical daily application of putting it all in place so it works really fast. I'm very fortunate. These are my two lovely sons, and they both have found their life purpose and passion, both really living the dream. But it wasn't always that way. I know I've said that I am now, but if you'd been with me back in the mid-90s, it wasn't the case. I had an ideal life to all intents and purposes. I had a fantastic job with a big corporate company, and I loved my job. I got to travel, 4-5 star all around the world with it. I was in sales, marketing and training for a multinational company. I had a fantastic husband who was very loving and attentive and supported, and a great dad. I had two beautiful little boys. I had fantastic help from my mum, caring for them. Lovely house, amazing holidays. But if you were sitting in my luxury company car with me one day in the middle of summer, in about 1997, I believe, you would have seen me with my jaw clenched, my hands wrapped around the steering wheel. And have you ever experienced one of those moments that once it's happened, it changes your life forever? There's no going back. It's what I call a pivotal moment. And I was about to experience a couple of them. And the first one, I was driving along in this beautiful car out in the countryside. I wasn't going anywhere in particular, but I spotted a tree in the distance, and the thought went through my head, well, I could just drive into that. I could just drive into that tree and everything would stop. I hadn't realised, but gradually over the months I'd been basically disappearing into depression. And I ended up going off work for 3 months with stress and depression, and I just assumed it was that I'd been, doing too much at work. But I was conscious that I felt I was living somebody else's life. But I didn't know I didn't know what was wrong. So you would have been sitting with me in a dusty counsellor's office a few weeks later. My counsellor David, who was like a middle-aged teddy bear, sitting opposite me. The sun was streaming in through the window. You could see all these, the dust motes in the shards of light. I'm sitting on this great big musty sofa, the sort that's had too many bottoms on it, so you just sink into it. And David's having this, scratchy chin moment. So, Julie, what was your childhood like? Oh, I had a fantastic childhood. My parents were incredibly attentive. They still are. Loving. The most important thing to them was that, we kids should be happy. Can't fault my childhood at all. Idyllic, really. Well, can you describe your marriage to me then? Yeah, really, really happily married. My husband's a great dad. He's very attentive. He's very supportive of my job. We don't argue. It's all hunky-dory. Okay, so can you describe to me your ideal life? What would that look like? And I said, what, if I wasn't confined by the shackles of marriage, you mean? I couldn't believe that had slipped out of my mouth. And it was like being slapped round the face by a big wet fish. And once I'd allowed that subconscious thought to come out of my mouth, my whole life changed. I had to face it, I had to look at it, and I had to make changes. I had been playing the role of a happily married woman. And I couldn't fault my husband. I just didn't love him in the way I was meant to. So subsequently, I divorced. It was the hardest thing I'd ever had to do in my own life, but it set me off on a path of self-discovery. And it wasn't a quick path of self-discovery. It's taken me 15 years to get to where I am now, which is a life of joy and passion and everything else. But I didn't learn immediately. I went on to have another couple of long-term relationships where really I repeated the same sort of behaviours. But subsequently, I ended up qualifying as a clinical hypnotherapist. And it was through doing all of that work and having my own hypnoanalysis and psychotherapy and learning about myself and my behaviours and where all these programs had come from and how to change them that I began to make the changes. And what the Life Ladder is all about is putting all those tools and processes into a system that works really fast. And I can give you an example of how it works with my eldest son, Alex. We talk about synchronicities, when you're in the flow of life, you found your purpose and passion, things flow to you. Well, my other son, Rob, is a beach bum surfer dude, and he now is working for an extreme sports equipment company. Loves it. Gets up 5 o'clock in the morning to go paddleboarding. That's his purpose and passion. He's a water baby. Alex's was always hospitality from the age of 15. And he is now living his dream. But a couple of summers ago, there was the most phenomenal moment of synchronicity, which actually had my jaw on the floor. He was working for probably the premier restaurant in our town as a manager. And he was really frustrated because the vision, values and ethos did not fit with where he thought it should be. And he was getting very frustrated. And we talked about, well, where can you go from where you are in town that's going to give you a step up the career ladder? There was really only one other place that would be seen as a step up, and it was a 4-star hotel that was local. And there'd been rumours that they were opening up an event premises as well. And I came home after a weekend away and I found him sitting at the table scribbling. And he was writing a resignation letter. Not just any resignation letter, it was 10 pages. He studied English at university, so it was a very thorough resignation letter. And I said, you haven't found a new job, have you? And he said, no, but I am so frustrated. I've got to get this off my chest. He said, I may never send it, but I've got to get it off my chest. And I said, well, have you spoken to the hotel? Have you phoned and asked if there's any vacancies? Have you put your CV in? Have you done any research on whether they're opening up this new venue? And he went, no, but I'm going to do it all this afternoon. I'm going to take my CV down. I'm going to speak to my friend that knows the hotel owner, and I'm going to get the big wheels in motion. We hadn't finished the conversation when his phone went. And he went into the garden, and he's walking up and down very officially, listening to this telephone conversation. I can see him nodding, and comes back in. He says to me, Mum, who have you been speaking to? And I said, why? And he said, well, you spoke to John, didn't you, who took me through my liquor licensing qualification? I said, yes, I did, about a month ago. Just through work that I was doing, I happened to have a brief conversation with him, and he asked how you were getting on. I told him you were frustrated. Why? He said, because that was him on the phone offering me a job at this hotel or their new venue. well, I think the only word to describe it is gobsmacked. But Alex went on to be employed by that hotel, to be promoted twice within a year, to then go on and work for a prestigious chain of hotels. He's now up in London, living his dream, working for a major chain of wine bars, and he is a sommelier. He had a flat with a balcony overlooking the Thames last year. He is really living his dream, and that is what happens when you get in the flow. Those are the miraculous sort of opportunities that come to you when you're tapping into this sort of work. So I'd love for you to come on this workshop. Go and book it now. Don't even listen to the rest of this presentation. But I have been working with lots of people, small groups, and we've been manifesting things like you wouldn't believe, from soul life, soul relationships, to cars, to new job opportunities, to even just having people turn up and offer help for things that we were struggling with. When you start asking and you're coming from the right heart space, the universe gives you whatever you need, and it's so exciting. So how do we do it? Well, we look at all of these processes. These are the fast track processes and actions that you need to take for all of this to happen for you. We start with checking where you really are currently. Now, for the purpose of the workshop, we're only going to look at wealth and business on that day. But if you just want to think about, for all the other areas of your life, if you could score them from 0 being rubbish to 10 being fantastic, where do you score for each of these? Because if you were going to go through the whole life ladder process and not just the wealth and business, we would start working on the one that had the lowest score for you. And they would all begin to impact each other, because actually what fundamentally underpins this is developing your own self-love. And that's what we work on. So when you start to work on that, everything else begins to shift. So the clean belief cycle, now particularly for wealth, and you'll have beliefs for all areas of your life, but if we just think about the wealth ones, what is your underlying programming for wealth? Because I can guarantee you're not a multimillionaire already, because you wouldn't be listening to me. So I give you an example. My mum sat in my lounge just a few months ago and said, well, you can't trust rich people. Well, where did that belief come from? But it coloured my judgment as I was growing up, subconsciously. I always went out, in my late teens, early 20s, I always went out with men that had no money. If I met men that had money, I would immediately distrust them. But I've recognised that, and I've changed that. And I know now, you look at the Richard Bransons of the world and the Gates, and for them, they've made their money. Now it's all about giving back and making a difference. And wealth is a fantastic thing when it's used in the right way. But what are your underlying beliefs that you may not even be aware of? You think about it, the money doesn't grow on trees. Even the adverts that you hear on the radio and watch on television, it's all about scarcity. But that's not the case. When you start tapping into your gifts and talents and sharing them with the world, the universe makes you abundant. So we recognise these beliefs, we clear them, and we replace them with ones that are going to take you on your true path. The healthy emotions formula. It's vital that you are not stuck with negative emotions, and I'll explain a little bit more about that. But we have tools and techniques and processes to go for to get rid of them. It's important to acknowledge them, access them, accept them, let them go. Forgiveness, all that kind of thing, and a lot of it is self-forgiveness. So why is it so important to get rid of the emotions? Well, Masaru Emoto is a Japanese scientist who's been working on water, and what he's done is he's taken basic water. Water's a very strange substance because scientists cannot explain how it can be in 3 states simultaneously. It can be liquid, it can be gas, and it can be solid. And it has a lot of incredible properties that we're not even aware of. It has photographic properties. And if you take water from nature, from let's say a natural Japanese waterfall, it will have incredible life-giving properties to it. It will have negative ions, it will be alkaline, it will be mineralized, it will be magnetized. And when it's frozen, that picture in the middle is what Japanese spring water looks like when it's frozen and photographed. That's the crystal shape. Now what Masaru Emoto did was he took the water, he put it in a beaker, and on the beaker he placed a sticker with an emotion written on it. And when he had the emotion love written on the beaker, and he froze and photographed the crystal, it looked like the one in the top left picture. Beautifully symmetrical. The one on the right hand side, I Hate You, is sludgy with no form. It's ugly. It's nasty, it's negative. At the bottom, the one on the left, the Fujiwara Dam, that's water from the Fujiwara Dam when it was toxic. And that's what it looked like when it was frozen and photographed. The one next to it is the exact same water, but after Tibetan monks have prayed over it. It's beautiful. The one on the right is heavy metal music. They played heavy metal music to water. Now, they did the same with classical music like Mozart and Brahms and Beethoven. And they all the crystals looked similar to the love and the Japanese spring water and the Tibetan prayer. They were beautiful. You're 70 to 90% water. What is all your negative programming and emotions and your self-talk doing to you as a physical being? What's it doing to your energy? Food for thought, and we look at far more of this in the workshop. So the energy optimizer, I've already said, nothing is going to progress for you. You're not going to materialise abundance. You're not going to get into the flow unless you learn the techniques of self-love. And they're very practical stuff that you can put in place to change that in your world. You have to come from an attitude of gratitude in order to manifest what you want in life. And every night before you go to sleep, just one thing you can start doing is being thankful for 5 or 6 things that have happened in your day. It might be getting a parking space when you need it. Might be going outside and smelling flowers or newly mown grass or anything that you could be grateful for. The more you're grateful for, the more that comes into your life to be grateful. Positivity. You have to get rid of your negative programming and start putting positive programs in there, and we teach you how to do that, and we use some meditations and hypnosis techniques. Nothing scary. We don't make you run around like chickens. It really is just meditation and visualizations, but they're powerful because they get into your subconscious. That's why this program moves you very quickly. It's about knowing your goals. Where do you want to be? What would that fantastic life look like for you? We help you to identify that. And it's about being in the right environment, from the people you surround yourself with to the stuff that you do for yourself and where you live. Everything around environment. So this one-day workshop is in Essex, April the 26th. Essex is easily accessible from London Fenchurch Street, London Liverpool Street. You can even fly in to London Essex Airport. Our one-day workshops cost £247, but we've put together a really special price just for you guys, which I'll tell you about in a minute. You do get the bonus of I'm going to have recorded sessions that will really fast track you, that you'll be able to either take away from the workshop or download afterwards, and it will incorporate all of these processes in the one-day workshop. You can take away and work on it daily basis afterwards. The Mind Motivator, this is all about putting you in control of your thoughts, your mind, so that everything falls into place for you. I've mentioned gratitude. Affirmations you might be familiar with, but they are things that you say daily that help to get you on your path. So for instance, if your current thinking is, I've never got enough clients, or there's never enough money in the bank, we change that. affirmations have to be in the present tense, they have to be in the positive. So, new clients flow to me on a daily basis is one affirmation, and I have more than enough money for everything I want and need. Then the visualizations, you ask anybody who is involved in sport, Olympic gold medal winners, they will all tell you that the visualization part of their training program is just as important as the physical part of their training program. They will take time out to go into meditation and sit and really look at how that would look to win that gold medal, and they can see the crowd, they can hear the cheers, they feel the weight of the gold medal around their neck as if they're actually standing on the podium in that moment that they're winning the medal. And it's incredibly powerful tool and technique to use, and we teach you how to do that. We teach you meditations and mindfulness, and meditation is the one daily activity that you need to be doing in order for this to all fall in together, and particular mindfulness. And mindfulness, you don't have to go and sit in a darkened room and go om. Mindfulness can be integrated into your daily activities. You can do it while you're eating lunch, but for me, it's the foundation of everything, and it's why now I don't have to have a mental battle to make decisions. Everything is intuitive, everything flows. You'll get moments of eye-opening realizations about why things haven't been working for you and what you need to do to move forward. It's powerful stuff, guys, and I really hope you're going to join me on this session, on this workshop, and get a feel for how it all comes together. Your life activator, there's a life ladder workbook. We'll give you worksheets on the day. There's the actual actions that you take away and start implementing, and there's a pictorial that you can put together for a real visual of what your life should look like. So the one-day workshop, April the 26th, it's very soon. If you can't make that date, please let us know. We won't be doing the same thing because this is specifically put together for the elite business, but we'll be doing very similar stuff. But cancel whatever you've got, come on April 26th, get yourselves on this road as fast as you possibly can, because for this one day only, it's only £97. It's normally £247. It's in Southend-on-Sea, easily accessible from London. You get the recorded sessions to really fast track your success. You'll see results so quickly. I really hope you join us, guys. Go on to businesshelpforyou.co.uk, click the link, book now, secure your place. The offer is only available until this Friday, the 17th, and make sure you get booked in. And I really look forward to going on this journey with you. Take care and thanks for listening.